greatest thing you'll ever learn is just to love and be loved in return.
Well, that's a f***ing lie. That's how Dendro works. There are currently only 4 things we know about Dendro. 1. It is apparently an element in this game. 2. It has an Archon, supposedly. 3. Sumeru is next, and so Dendro is actually coming. 4. Baiju, Yao Yao, Traveler, and Dendro Archon will be Dendro characters, supposedly. And for those bad at math, 5. Dendro plus Pyro equals burning, causing Pyro damage over time. And for those shockingly bad at math, 6. There are Dendro Slimes and Samichels, also Wood Shields. But now that we got that out of the way, let's talk about what we might see from Dendro and how it could work. 1. Dendro Constructs. This one I think is really likely. Look at how the vines work from a Samichel. I expect something similar here, causing damage on contact, or maybe pulsing. Also snares as a different kind of freeze. 2. A bunch of healing. In case you are wondering what the shape of the Dendro Archon is, it's not a heart. Hearts are shaped rather differently. Here is a more accurate depiction through animation. Wasn't that lovely? In all seriousness, Dendro is likely to provide a ton of healing, as the icon suggests. 3. Poison. I think this is pretty likely, either as a reaction with Hydro or Cryo, or just part of Baiju's skill cause, you know, Philly neck. Dendro could be mostly buffing and debuffing. Dendro reactions may be treated like Anemo and Geo, and separate from the others. This would create an interesting niche for Dendro, making them staple supporters. But, much like Cryo or Electrophysical DPS in a Superconduct, they may be able to main DPS due to the reactions, helping them and weakening the enemy. The idea here is that Dendro would hit an enemy and give resistance to that element, or inflict resistance reductions. I still want this if we do get reactions, as you'll see in a couple of minutes. 6. Could we see 3-way reactions? Yes, we all want a 3-way. But unfortunately they aren't as exciting as you'd think. I mean, you head out to a field, find a couple of ladies, they start shooting Electro at you and their flies try to kill you, so you hit them with Hydro, Pyro and then Dendro and something happens. Maybe a huge debuff. Maybe a pent-up explosion of Dendro. I'll be honest, this is getting a bit out of hand. And over their face! While I don't think we'll see 3-way reactions, because, well, they'd break the game, we may see normal reactions. And here's what I'm thinking. Excluding burning, obviously. Hydro and Dendro. Toxicity. Infects the opponent with a poison, decreasing their defense / elemental resistance. Maybe has a damage over time. Dendro plus Hydro. So you're applying Dendro onto Hydro. That's how these are all going, just accept it. Overgrown. Creates a small explosion for damage that doesn't move the enemy, but wraps them in a snare if they're small, and it pulses Dendro damage. For larger enemies, the snare wouldn't hold them, but the pulse would still do Dendro damage. Dendro plus Cryo. Perennial cold. Causes a noticeable slow on the opponent, and appropriate attacks will cause shatter until the effect ends. I want this because shatter isn't really viable, and I wanted to try testing out a shatter build, but there's no really good way to do it. This could be the answer. Cryo plus Dendro, Frostbite, causing slowing and reducing the attack of the enemy. Dendro plus Geo, Crystallize. Stays as standard, really. Geo and Dendro, Naturalize, or Naturalize? Well, however, tomato, you know what I mean? This will probably just be Crystallize, but I have a couple of choices. It could create a Dendro construct, or it could create Thorny Shield applied to the active character. Doesn't protect, but it will cause Dendro damage. Anemo plus Dendro, just like the previous, this will probably just stay as a swirl, but I would love to see it be a catalyst. Not that kind. I want it to be a catalyst for what I'm calling fields. More on that later. It could create an AoE heal, but I think that would be dumb. Electro plus Dendro. Electrification. Cause an explosion without moving the enemy, but it will hurt you as well. It will then cause a massive Electro or Dendro resistance reduction. Dendro and Electro, electrocution. Similar to Vaporize and Melt with preference on Electro. That's for electrification and electrocution, they just do the same. For the record, I would like for Geo and Anemo to have a reaction like Vaporize, with preference for the Geo being 2 times damage, but I don't think that's ever happening. So when I spoke of Anemo and Dendro, I discussed fields. For my Pokemon lovers out there, think terrains. In this idea, Dendro when reacting would create a terrain on the ground. The area would have an obvious ring, same as, various attacks, but it will pulse and cause certain effects. Either Dendro and Anemo would create the fields, then the application of an element to the field will create the effect, but let's just say we have our field and we use Cryo. Then the field would grow icy plants that pulse Cryo damage or cause slow. Electro could create an electrified field, creating constant damage to opponents that can also bounce just outside the field. These fields could be used for healing or buffing for some elements, just to create a change, but I have no preferences on which. If you feel Dendro plus Anemo plus element to get the field is a bit too much setup, then you could have it that Dendro creates it when it hits an enemy afflicted with another element, just like any other reaction. I like this idea. I think it would create a nice change of pace to the game, but it may be too much, and I don't really see Hoyo stretching out of their comfort zone like that. Oh, one other thing. I believe the Traveler will be the first Dendro character. I think they want to make the players want to use them a little bit. I also think they'll make them decent. Not great, not amazing. If I was gonna tier them, I think they will do lowest of the B tier to middle of the C tier. Yeah, tiers are relative, but I think they can give the Traveler some love now without it affecting their bottom line. So I think that pretty much covers it. My thoughts on Dendro. I know some of this video was a bit weird, but it is like 4 AM as I make it, and I have work in a few hours, so quit your whinging. If you are intrigued by the idea of a shatter build, then subscribe, hit the bell if you want, tell me in the comments you want it and all that. If you need a guide to build any character, I am starting to amass a rather superb collection, if I do say so myself. And remember, if you want to catch me live, it is Freefall Pandas. Wait, I did that wrong. Twitch.tv/FreefallPandas. Yeah, come and check it out. Let's have some fun. Alright, that's the end of my Dendro thoughts. I'll see you in the next one. Panda. Oh.